I've transmigrated into a novel, becoming the ultimate cannon fodder in a tragic high society romance. The moment I opened my eyes, the opulent interior of a CEO's office filled my vision. Before I could take it all in, a file was slammed down on the glossy desk with a sharp smack. Sign it, I looked up to see a face with exquisite makeup, now twisted with impatience. Vivian Montgomery, the adopted daughter of the Montgomery family, my sister in name only. Behind her stood two stone-faced, powerfully built bodyguards, their presence menacing. Above my line of sight, a semi-transparent stream of live comments began to scroll actively across the screen. Here we go, the classic scene. The protagonist sacrifices his own company to make Ethan Hawthorne a star. Vivian is such a badass that alpha energy is off the charts. Just sign it already. What's the holdup? It's just one resort. What's wrong with helping a friend? 1. What are you spacing out for? Vivian rapped her knuckles on the table, the diamonds on her nails flashing. Ethan is waiting for this agreement to secure funding. Time is tight, so sign it. Now, staring at the scene before me, the plot of the original novel began to surface in my mind. I, Sincere Montgomery, am the sole heir to the Montgomery Corporation. But I'm destined to be ruined by this dear sister and the object of her affection, Ethan Hawthorne. This document in front of me, the East Side Resort Project Share Transfer Agreement, is the beginning of the entire tragedy. A core project worth $1 billion is handed over on a silver platter. Ethan uses it as a launch pad, and a year later the Montgomery Corporation goes bankrupt. My parents die from the sheer shock and anger, and I end up in a mental asylum to live out the rest of my miserable days. I lowered my gaze, my eyes falling on the bold, glaring words share transfer. My fingertips brushed lightly against the edge of the paper. "Vivian," I said, looking up, my voice as calm as a placid lake. "What's your monthly salary at Montgomery Corp?" She was clearly taken aback, then, as if insulted, her voice shot up. "Sincere, what are you asking that for? I'm talking to you about business as your sister. I let out a soft chuckle, picking up the agreement and weighing it in my hand. An adopted daughter with an annual salary of barely $300,000. Where do you get the nerve to use that tone of command with the sole heir of the Montgomery Corporation, the rightful master of a $10 billion fortune? The live comments exploded instantly. WTF? Did the protagonist wake up on the wrong side of the bed today? Adopted daughter. So she's not his real sister? She's not satisfied with $300K a year? From the way she talks, you'd think she owned the company. Vivian's face flushed a deep red, her breathing becoming ragged. You Sincere, you're being completely unreasonable. Ethan needs this opportunity. He's incredibly talented. He just lacks a platform. The Montgomery family is so powerful. Isn't it our duty to help him? Can't you be a little kinder, a little more generous? Kind? Generous? I shot up from my chair, snatched the agreement, and slammed it down on the desk in front of her with a deafening bang. You want to use $1 billion of my family's hard-earned money to showcase your cheap kindness? To prop up the non-existent talent of that kept man of yours? I stepped closer, close enough to see her pupils contract in shock. Your kindness is damn expensive. The comments went wild, O'Malley told her. $1 billion, she says it like it's nothing. Is his tongue laced with poison? That was savage. What nonsense are you spouting? Vivian completely lost her composure, screaming as she swung her hand at my face. The movement was so practiced it clearly wasn't the first time. But she didn't know that the person standing before her was no longer the foolish little brother who bent to her every whim. I precisely caught her wrist mid-swing, my grip so tight she cried out in pain. Then, to everyone's utter disbelief, my right arm swung out. Smack, a slap, so crisp and loud it echoed, was imprinted on her fair cheek. I held nothing back. The force sent Vivian staggering back a few steps before she crashed to the floor with a thud. Her perfectly styled hair fell into disarray, and one side of her face swelled up instantly, a vivid red handprint shockingly clear. The live comments reached a nuclear-level climax. A slap, it's the slap. The heroine's signature god-tier move is being used by the protagonist. OMG, he knocked her down. He really knocked her down. That sound was so crisp, my own face hurts just watching this. She's completely stunned. Look at her face. I'm dying. LMAO. The two bodyguards instinctively moved. but I shot them a single icy glare filled with unquestionable authority. Anyone who moves a muscle today, I'll make sure their entire family can never find work in this city again. The bodyguards froze in place, silent as statues. Vivian clutched her face and looked up, her eyes filled with shock, humiliation, and disbelief. You dare to hit me? I didn't spare her another glance. I bent down, picked up the scattered agreement, and, under her horrified gaze, applied force with both hands. Rip, the billion-dollar agreement was slowly and methodically torn into shreds. With a flick of my wrist, the white confetti rained down over her head and body in the ultimate act of humiliation. This slap was for our ancestors. I looked down at her, my gaze imperious. A traitorous backstabber like you thinks you have the right to give orders here? The comments were in a state of euphoria. He tore it $1 billion just like that, the paper confetti that's just brutal hitting her where it hurts. So humiliating, but I love to see it. He even brought the ancestors into it. The protagonist is a legend, too. I pressed the intercom button on my desk, my tone reverting to a cold indifference. Leo, send them in. The office door opened on cue, and my chief secretary, Leo Miller, entered, followed by 6 bodyguards in black suits. They had clearly been on standby for some time. Mr. Montgomery. I pointed at Vivian, who was still sprawled pathetically on the floor. My voice was devoid of any emotion. Inform the HR department and the board of directors that, effective immediately, Vivian Montgomery is terminated from all positions within the corporation and its subsidiaries simultaneously. Freeze all her personal bank accounts, credit cards, and access to stock dividends without my personal signature. She is not authorized to touch a single cent of the Montgomery family's money. Yes, Mr. Montgomery. Leo moved to execute the order without hesitation. Also, I paused, then added, compile all the evidence of her embezzling company funds and leaking trade secrets to Ethan Hawthorne over the years. Send it to all board members immediately and report it to the police. Vivian's face turned deathly pale, her lips trembling. How did you know? When did you? The live comments exploded again. Holy crap, he has evidence, so the sister was the mole all along. Embezzlement? Corporate espionage? This is getting juicier. Plot twist after plot twist, the protagonist has been hiding his true self so well. I bent down and, using my fingertips, picked up a piece of the shredded contract. I tapped it gently against her swollen cheek, the light touch a profound insult. Did you really think the disgusting things you and your gold-digging lover did could remain hidden forever? Just then my phone rang. The name Father flashed on the screen. I immediately put it on speaker, letting his furious voice echo through the silent office. Sincere, you bastard, have you lost your mind? Apologize to your sister this instant. My father's voice trembled with rage. Vivian latched onto it like a final lifeline, screaming tearfully. Dad, Sincere hit me. He's trying to kick me out of the company. He's gone crazy. I spoke into the phone, my tone calm but bone-chillingly cold. Chairman Montgomery, before you start issuing orders, I suggest you check your email. Go and admire how your kind and sensible adopted daughter has been hollowing out our family's fortune all these years to feed her lover, a man who doesn't even share our name. The other end of the line fell into a dead silence. A few seconds later, my father's voice returned, filled with an incredulous panic, all his previous authority gone. These transfer records, these confidential files, are they real? They're in black and white, clear as day. I sneered. She wanted to give away $1 billion project. She dared to leak the company's core secrets. Tell me, Chairman Montgomery, did she deserve that slap or not? Was I right to fire her or not? The comment section was in awe. He's even schooling his own dad, so dominant. The chairman backed down instantly. The evidence is too powerful. So his dad was in the dark this whole time. Without another word, I hung up and waved a hand at the bodyguards. Drag her out of here. From this day forward, she is not to set foot in the Montgomery Tower ever again. Notify all security departments. If they see her, they are to stop her at the door. Yes, Mr. Montgomery. 2 bodyguards hauled Vivian to her feet. She struggled wildly, screaming hysterically. Sincere, you can't do this to me. Ethan won't let you get away with this. He'll make you pay, Ethan? My lips curled into a disdainful smile, as if I'd just heard the world's greatest joke. Let him try. I'm eager to see what price a useless parasite who only knows how to hide behind women and live off them can possibly make me pay. The comments erupted in cheers. Yes, satisfying from start to finish. The protagonist is so badass, this is how a true heir should act. Parasite perfect description. I can't wait to see Ethan show up and get destroyed. The office door closed, and silence was finally restored. Leo respectfully handed me a tablet. Mr. Montgomery, we just received this. Stellar Tech, the company under Ethan Hawthorne's name, is urgently seeking Series B funding. It appears they have a cash flow problem. I glanced at the data on the screen, a cold arc forming on my lips. Notify all executives from the investment and legal departments. Meeting in conference room 1 in 30 minutes. I'm going to make Ethan Hawthorne understand that in the face of real capital power, his pathetic little company, built on the backs of women, isn't even worth as much as an annoying ant. The live comments were in a complete frenzy. Here it comes, the business war is about to begin. A meeting in 30 minutes, the protagonist's efficiency is insane. Crush him like an ant. I've already got my popcorn ready. I turned and walked to the massive floor-to-ceiling window, looking down at the bustling, cold city below. Skyscrapers stood like a forest. Traffic flowed like rivers, all of it beneath my feet.
Ethan, I've already taken down your support system. Now, it's your turn. Your good days are over. 3.
I had just dealt with Vivian when the office door was shoved open violently. Victoria Sinclair stormed in on 4-inch heels, with Ethan Hawthorne trailing behind her, wearing the expression of a victim. Sincere, are you even human? Victoria shrieked, pointing a finger at my nose. Vivian was so good to you, and you actually hit her. The live comments instantly came alive. Here we go, the two-faced shrew and her gold-digging boyfriend have arrived. Classic moral grandstanding. The way she's chewing him out, you'd think she was the one in charge. Ethan put on a show of trying to calm her down. Vicky, don't be like that. Sincere was probably just upset in the moment. Upset? Victoria's voice was shrill. He had her sent to the police station. He's trying to destroy her completely. I calmly opened my laptop and pulled up a file. Victoria, where were you at 10 o'clock on the night of the 15th last month? She froze for a second, her eyes darting around. Why are you asking that? I was at home, sleeping, is that so? I clicked play on a surveillance video. Then who is this kissing Ethan outside his apartment building? The comments exploded. Scandal. Caught the fiancé cheating in 4K. I knew there was a reason she was defending Ethan so hard. Victoria's face went deathly pale. You were spying on me? Spying? I sneered. This footage was captured by the public security cameras in the hallway of your dear Ethan's apartment building. I opened an email record. And this, the floor price for Montgomery Corp's bid last quarter. You're the one who leaked it to Ethan, weren't you? I didn't, she stammered, taking a step back. Do you need me to read the original email you sent to Ethan out loud? I stared into her eyes. I saw Sincere's bid proposal. The floor price is $370 million. Bid $365 million, and you'll win. The comments were on fire. WTF, the mole is confirmed. What a traitorous backstabber, using her fiancé's money to support her boy toy. Ethan rushed forward. Little Monty, this is all a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? I shot up from my chair, whipping the laptop around to face them. Do you need me to play the recording of you coaching Victoria on how to extract corporate secrets from Montgomery Corp? The office fell into a dead silence. Victoria was trembling all over, her lips quivering, unable to speak. I walked up to her, my voice like ice. Kneel. She looked up in shock. What did you say? I said kneel. I enunciated each word. For being a traitor, for betraying the Montgomery family. Kneel and admit your mistake. The comments hit a fever pitch. He's making her kneel. The protagonist is so ruthless, I love it. A snake like her deserves to be on her knees. Ethan tried to intervene, but was swiftly restrained by the bodyguards behind me. Sincere, don't go too far, Victoria screamed. I glanced at my watch. I'll give you 3 seconds to think it over. Either you kneel and repent, or I make the Sinclair family go bankrupt today. 3. She bit her lip, her eyes full of venom. 2. Her legs began to shake. 1. I'll kneel, she shrieked, collapsing to the floor with a thud as tears streamed down her face. I was wrong. I shouldn't have leaked the secrets. The comments scrolled by in a frenzy. She knelt, she really knelt. This is so satisfying to watch. He should have dealt with this wretched pair ages ago. I looked down at her imperiously. As of this moment, our engagement is off. You, Victoria Sinclair, have nothing more to do with the Montgomery family. She shot her head up. You can't. Furthermore, I cut her off, the Montgomery Corp. Legal department will be suing you for corporate espionage. Get ready to be bankrupted. I pressed the intercom. Leo, notify all departments to terminate all partnerships with the Sinclair Group. At the same time, short their stock. Victoria slumped to the floor, her face ashen. Ethan struggled, yelling, "Sincere, do you have to be so ruthless?" I walked over to him and grabbed him by the collar. "Don't be impatient, gold digger, you're next." With that, I waved to the bodyguards. "Throw this wretched pair out." The comments were a chorus of cheers. "Awesome 1-2 punch. The protagonist's efficiency is insane. I wonder how much therapy Ethan will need after this." Once the office was quiet again, Leo walked in quickly. "Mr. Montgomery, we've begun as you instructed. Sinclair Group's stock is plummeting." I nodded. "Keep up the pressure. I want them bankrupt within 3 days." My phone rang. It was Gregory Sinclair. I rejected the call and turned off my phone. The comments were full of praise. He won't even take his father-in-law's call. Now that's a true tycoon. The price for crossing the protagonist is steep. Watching the two of them being dragged out of the building on the security monitor, I gave a cold smile. "Ethan, I've broken all of your shields, one by one. Now, it's your turn." 4. News that Vivian Montgomery had been sent to the police and Victoria Sinclair had knelt and begged for forgiveness spread through the city's elite circles like a virus. I sat in my office, watching the security feed. Ethan's black Mercedes was parked outside the Montgomery Tower for a full 20 minutes before finally driving away in defeat. The comments scrolled excitedly. "Looks like Ethan's starting to panic. He just lost his 2 biggest assets, of course he's panicking. The protagonist works fast. This all happened in just half a day." Leo knocked and entered, his expression serious. "Mr. Montgomery, Isabella Vance from the security department has been asking about your schedule all day." Isabella Vance, the treacherous female bodyguard from the novel, the mole Ethan had planted by my side for the longest time. I sneered. "Leak tomorrow's itinerary for the inspection trip to the development zone to her. Tell her I'll be going alone." "That's too dangerous," Leo protested immediately. "Dangerous?" I twirled a pen in my fingers. "I'm curious to see what other tricks Ethan has up his sleeve." The live comments began to boil. "It's a trap. The protagonist is luring the snake out of its hole. Isabella is so done for." I knew there was something off about that bodyguard. The next morning, I deliberately drove to the development zone by myself. Sure enough, a motorcycle soon appeared in my rearview mirror. The rider was clad in black, with a lean, athletic build. It was Isabella. I intentionally turned onto a quiet, deserted road. Just as I stopped the car and pretended to check a map, Isabella's motorcycle screeched to a halt in front of my car. She dismounted fluidly, her black tactical gear accentuating her capable figure. "Mr. Montgomery, fancy meeting you here." I leaned against the car door, a half-smile on my face. "It's no coincidence. I've been waiting for you." Her expression flickered, and her right hand instinctively moved toward her waist. At that exact moment, 4 black SUVs sped in from both ends of the road, instantly surrounding us. 8 professional bodyguards in tactical uniforms jumped out. These were my true loyalists. "Search her," I ordered coolly. 2 bodyguards moved in and restrained Isabella, finding a miniature camera, a recording device, and a tranquilizer dart disguised as a lipstick on her. The comments exploded. "Caught red-handed. She even had a weapon. They were going for the kill. Ethan is ruthless." I picked up the tranquilizer dart and waved it in front of her face. "Did Ethan tell you to use this on me?" Isabella bit her lip, saying nothing. "Take her back to the office," I said, getting into one of the bodyguards' cars. "Notify all executives. All hands meeting in 1 hour." An hour later, the largest conference room in Montgomery Tower was packed. I had Isabella brought onto the stage and, in front of every executive, displayed all the evidence of her crimes over the years. "In March of last year, you leaked the company's security layout to Ethan Hawthorne. In August, you altered my father's itinerary to stage a car accident. Last month, you stole confidential files from the R&D department." With each charge I read, a collective gasp went through the room. The comments scrolled madly. "She's not a bodyguard, she's a professional spy." Terrifying to think about. How did the protagonist even survive before? Ethan was really trying to wipe out the whole Montgomery family. I walked up to Isabella and slapped her across the face. "That's for your ingratitude. The Montgomery family fed you, clothed you, and trained you, and this is how you repay us?" I slapped her again with the back of my hand. "And that's for being a traitor. You took our salary while working to destroy us." The comments were in an uproar, slap after slap so satisfying. The protagonist doesn't hold back. Her face is all swollen. Traitors like her deserve to be beaten. Isabella finally broke down, sobbing. I was wrong. Ethan forced me to do it. Forced you? I sneered. Do you need me to play the recording of you throwing yourself at him? A video began playing on the conference room's main screen, showing Isabella in Ethan's apartment, initiating a passionate kiss. The entire room was in an uproar. Call the police. I ordered the head of security, charge her with corporate, espionage, and attempted assault. The comments were filled with cheers. Call the cops, let her rot in jail. Ethan is officially all alone now. The protagonist's cleanup is so thorough. Just as the police were about to cuff Isabella, she suddenly broke free and lunged at me. Sincere, I'll kill you, I sidestepped, executed a clean shoulder throw that sent her crashing to the floor and drove my knee hard into her back. I forgot to mention, I whispered in her ear, while I was training with the special forces, you were still busy being Ethan's lapdog. The live comments went absolutely insane. Holy crap, the protagonist knows how to fight. That shoulder throw was so cool. He was hiding his skills this whole time. The police dragged the struggling Isabella away. I straightened my suit and faced the executives. Effective immediately, the corporate security department will be completely restructured. All personnel will undergo background checks. If you have something to hide, get out now. After the meeting, Leo brought me the latest news. Mr. Montgomery, Ethan's Stellar Tech just announced that their funding round has failed. Their stock has plummeted 30. I looked out the window. Ethan's Mercedes was still parked at the corner of the street. Send him a message, I said coldly. Tell him the game is just getting started. The comments were filled with anticipation. Ethan's about to get desperate. At this rate, Ethan won't last 3 more days, 5. Inside the grand ballroom of the Imperial Grand Hotel, the city's elite were gathered. Ethan Hawthorne stood at the center of the room, dressed in a $1 million bespoke suit, a limited edition watch glittering on his wrist. He faced the cameras of dozens of media outlets, his expression a carefully crafted mask of sorrow. Thank you all for coming to my birthday celebration today. His voice was low, laced with a hint of a sob. Some things have happened recently that have deeply pained me. I've always believed in being a kind person, but reality is often disappointing. He paused deliberately, allowing the reporters to frantically capture his vulnerable moment. The live comments began to stir. Ugh, his acting is more over the top than a professional actor's. Here he goes, playing the victim again. It's his only move. Get the cameras in focus. I want to see how he cries later. Just then, the ballroom's heavy, ornate doors swung open with a bang. I strode in with a team of 12 professionals. 6 bodyguards in black suits cleared the way. 4 lawyers held sealed briefcases, and 2 technicians carried state-of-the-art projection equipment. Our procession was so imposing that it instantly captured the attention of the entire room. The spotlight immediately shifted from Ethan, and every camera turned to me. Looks like I'm right on time. I walked towards the main stage with long, confident strides. Since Mr. Hawthorne loves acting so much, why don't I help you build a bigger stage? Let the entire city see your true face. Ethan's face went pale, but he quickly forced a calm facade. Sincere, this is my private party. You're not welcome. Security, please escort him out. A few hotel security guards hesitated before being forced back by a single glare from my bodyguards. I snatched the microphone from the host's hand, my voice booming through the top-tier sound system. Not so fast. I'm here today to give Mr. Hawthorne a birthday gift he will never forget. I signaled the technicians to connect their equipment. The massive LED screen at the front of the ballroom lit up, showing Ethan's panicked face. First, let's all enjoy a fascinating audio recording. Ethan's clear voice immediately filled the room. Vivian, that fool Sincere is easy to control. Just sweet-talk him a little more and get me that resort project. Once it's done, I promise to make you Mrs. Hawthorne. Vicky, you have to get me Montgomery Corp's bid price. If you have to, even sleeping with that old geezer is fine. Once it's done, I'll marry you in a grand ceremony. Isabella, find a chance to drug Sincere, make it look like an accident. Yes, use one of those untraceable neurotoxins. The live comments completely exploded. It's all confirmed the receipts, inciting murder that's a criminal offense. He's so evil he even planned to use poison. Those 3 women were so stupid they were sold and still helped him count the money. The venue erupted in chaos. Guests whispered in shock, and some of the society ladies put down their wine glasses in disgust. Ethan scrambled to grab the microphone but was slammed to the ground in a clean takedown by one of my bodyguards. Patience. The show was just getting started. I smirked and switched the screen. This is the money trail of Ethan transferring $870 million of Montgomery Corp. as assets through 12 shell companies registered in the Virgin Islands. Every transaction was carefully disguised, but none could escape the eyes of a professional audit. The screen filled with dense transfer records, red arrows highlighting the flow of capital, and complex diagrams of corporate structures that made the entrepreneurs in the room gasp. And there's more I played, the next set of evidence. Forged contracts signed by him personally, meticulously fabricated financial reports, and his masterpiece, a complete plan to bribe a private doctor to inject me with a neurotoxin. With the dosage and injection site clearly marked, the comments scrolled by in a frenzy. Poison? This is premeditated murder. He's a monster. He deserves the death penalty. This evidence is airtight. Ethan is completely finished. How did the protagonist get all this? He's incredible. Ethan completely lost it, screaming as he lunged at me. Sincere, I'm going to kill you. I'll take you down with me. A bodyguard delivered a sharp sidekick that sent him flying. He crumpled onto the red carpet, his expensive suit stained with wine, all his previous elegance gone. I slowly walked over to him, looking down. Gold digger, is this enough evidence to have you rot in prison for the rest of your life? Just then the ballroom doors opened again. A team of uniformed police officers entered, led by the captain of the Economic Crimes Division. Mr. Ethan Hawthorne, you are under arrest for 7 charges, including but not limited to corporate embezzlement, commercial fraud, and attempted murder. The comments were ecstatic. Arrested on the spot. Justice is served. This is so satisfying. I could watch this on a loop 100 times. The police have perfect timing. As the handcuffs clicked shut on Ethan's wrists, he suddenly burst into maniacal laughter. Sincere, you think you've won? Let me tell you, the people behind me won't let you go their power overseas. I leaned down and whispered in his ear, in a voice only we could hear. You mean the owner of your secret Swiss account? Apologies, but all his assets were frozen by Interpol yesterday. By the way, he's currently enjoying tea in a prison on some remote island. Ethan's expression froze, his eyes showing true fear and despair for the first time. The comments were stunned. There was a mastermind behind him. The protagonist even found that out. He cast a wide net, wiped them all out in one go. He's too powerful. This revenge is perfect. I stood up and raised my glass to the guests. Thank you all for witnessing this important moment. From this day forward, the Montgomery Corporation begins a new chapter. For anyone who thinks of harming my family's interests, this will be your fate amidst the frantic flashing of cameras. I watched as Ethan was dragged away by the police like a stray dog. Reporters swarmed him, broadcasting his most pathetic moment to the entire world. The live comments celebrated in unison. Broadcast live to the whole world, social death. This is what you call total and utter ruin. Congrats to the protagonist for getting rid of the trash. This will be trending all night 6. That night, topics like Ethan Hawthorne arrested, scumbag of the century, and Montgomery Corp blew up on social media. The Montgomery Corporation's stock price soared by 15%, adding nearly $10 billion to its market cap in a single day. I stood before the floor-to-ceiling window in my office, gazing at the city's brilliant nightscape. Leo brought in the latest report. Mr. Montgomery, all of Ethan Hawthorne's assets have been frozen, and Stellar Tech has officially declared bankruptcy. Additionally, the Swiss bank just confirmed that all of his overseas accounts have been seized. I gently swirled the deep red liquid in my wine glass. Inform the legal department I want him to spend the rest of his life in prison. Also, prepare the documents. I want him to spit out every last cent he swallowed with interest. The comments were full of anticipation. Waiting for Ethan to get a life sentence. The protagonist's revenge saga was epic. I need a sequel. I want to see Ethan dropping the soap in prison 7. 3 months later, the A-City Supreme Courthouse was swarmed with reporters. Today was the day of the verdict in Ethan's trial. I sat at the plaintiff's table, watching the haggard man in a prison uniform at the defendant's table. The live comments had started warming up early. Finally, the day has come. I almost didn't recognize Ethan. He looks terrible. Can't wait for the verdict, the judge's solemn voice echoed through the courtroom. Defendant Ethan Hawthorne, guilty of corporate embezzlement, commercial espionage, attempted murder. For these and other crimes, the court sentences you to life in prison without parole, with deprivation of political rights for life, and confiscation of all personal property. The moment the gavel fell, Ethan collapsed. The bailiffs had to drag him from the courtroom. As he passed me, he suddenly screamed, "Sincere, I'll haunt you even as a ghost." I rose, slowly adjusting my cuffs, and looked down at him. "When you become a ghost, be sure to come find me. I'll show you what it means to not even be able to exist as a ghost." The comments erupted in laughter. "Lamau, he's still roasting him. Getting tormented even in the afterlife, that's rough." The protagonist's comebacks are legendary. That afternoon, I visited a mental hospital on the outskirts of the city. Through the observation window, I saw Vivian in a patient's gown, clutching a tattered doll and muttering to herself, "Ethan will come for me. He's going to marry me." The attending doctor reported to me, "The patient has suffered a severe psychological breakdown and is living completely in her own world. All she does is hold that doll and stare out the window." I put down a file folder. This is everything she acquired from the Montgomery family over the years, all of which has now been recovered. As for her treatment costs, I glanced into the room. Let her live out the rest of her days here. The comments were filled with sighs. She brought this all on herself. To ruin your life for a scumbag like that, this is what happens when you're obsessed. After leaving the hospital, Leo handed me a tablet. "Mr. Montgomery, the Sinclair Group officially declared bankruptcy yesterday. Victoria and her father tried to flee the country last night, but were stopped at the airport by their creditors. They're now hiding in a rental in a rundown urban village." The screen showed a recent photo of Victoria. The once glamorous heiress was now wearing cheap clothes, haggling with a vendor at a street market over a few cents. "Leak their current situation to the media anonymously," I said flatly. "Let them have a taste of what it feels like to be ridiculed by the entire internet." The comments were full of praise. "Serves them right. That's what you get for being a corporate spy. Remember how arrogant she was? This is so satisfying." As the motorcade returned to the city, we passed the women's prison. I had the car slow down. It was exercise time in the yard. Through the chain-link fence, I saw Isabella Vance in a prison uniform, mechanically walking in circles. The once sharp bodyguard now had empty eyes and a weary gait. A guard recognized me and came over. "She's been very quiet since she arrived. Tried to commit suicide last month but failed. Now she just sits by herself all day." I gave a slight nod. "Watch her. Don't let her die. She needs to pay for what she did." The comments were filled with emotion. "A full cast of villains, a full cast of tragedies. You feel bad for them, but they did it to themselves." The protagonist's revenge was absolute. Returning to the Montgomery Corporation headquarters, all the employees were lined up to greet me. I walked straight into the top-floor boardroom, where the entire board of directors stood up. Effective immediately, I am officially taking over as chairman of the Montgomery Corporation. I placed the authorization documents on the table. Now, for the first order of business, reorganizing the board. I read out 7 names. "The directors I've just named, please leave immediately. Your financial dealings with Ethan Hawthorne have been compiled and forwarded to the Economic Crimes Division." The named directors' faces turned ashen as they were escorted out by security. The comments were loving it. "What a power move. Now that's a real cleanup." He took out the entire board's second order of business. I brought up a world map. Montgomery Corp. will undergo a strategic pivot. Step 1, a full acquisition of the bankrupt Stellar Tech, to be dismantled and restructured. Step 2, an acquisition of the Sinclair Group's remaining assets at a 10% premium. Step 3, my finger landed on a major international financial center. Global expansion. We have already reached an agreement with 3 international investment banks. We will be opening our New York office next month. The room erupted in thunderous applause. The comments were amazed. His vision just expanded to a whole new level. This went from a revenge drama to a corporate blockbuster. The protagonist is going to conquer the world. That evening, I gave an exclusive interview to a major financial news channel. The host asked, "Chairman Montgomery, after this whole ordeal, what new insights have you gained about the business world?" I looked at the camera, my voice calm. The business world has always been about the survival of the fittest. But what I want to say is, I leaned forward slightly, anyone who treats the Montgomery family like a pushover will pay the price. Just then, there was a commotion outside the studio. A staff member explained awkwardly, "It's Victoria Sinclair. She's insisting on seeing you." I turned my head toward the staff member and said coolly, "Get rid of her." After the interview, I stood on the top floor of the newly completed Montgomery Global Headquarters. It was the tallest building in the city, the entire metropolis glittering beneath my feet. Leo brought me the latest financial report. "Chairman Montgomery, the group's market value has increased by 200% this month. We are now among the top 100 global corporations." I took the report, my eyes sweeping over the city lights. "Notify all department heads. Meeting tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. sharp. We will be discussing our global strategic layout for the next decade." The comments were filled with excitement. Now that is a king's demeanor. From revenge to global domination, this story is perfect. Can't wait to see the protagonist conquer the world. As the night deepened, I stood alone by the window, holding a confidential document I had just received. It was a letter of gratitude from Interpol, thanking me for the intelligence that helped them dismantle a transnational economic crime syndicate. I shredded the letter and raised my glass, giving a slight nod to the brilliant city below. The old era was over. A new one had just begun.